everyone! As some of you know, I like to talk about my own personal experiences on my channel. And today we're going to talk about TMS therapy, which I did. And what we're going to cover specifically is TMS insurance coverage, actually. And so that would be the TMS costs with insurance and the TMS costs without insurance or out of pocket. Let me start off with a little background. According to the Mayo Clinic, depression is a treatable condition, except for some people, apparently, where standard treatments aren't effective. By standard treatments, I mean psychotherapy or talk therapy and medication. This is known as treatment-resistant depression. Now, I think the term is a little misleading because treatment-resistant makes it sound like there are no treatments or solutions for this kind of depression, when in fact there are. There are just not the common antidepressants that people use. I am not a medical professional, so please just use this video for entertainment purposes, where I talk about my own experiences, but it is not professional or medical advice. You should always go to your own doctors for that. I will say I did use reliable sources, which I cited in the description of the video, and I'll cite throughout. So I don't claim to know all the information that I'm gonna talk about in this video, because I did research it and it is taken from the website. Some of the treatments for treatment-resistant depression can range from lifestyle changes like more exercise, more sleep, to ECT or electroconvulsive therapy. I believe that's also called shock therapy, and whereas I understand it, you are put under anesthesia and electricity is used to trigger a seizure in your brain, which is supposed to be actually very effective in treating depression, but it comes with some side effects that you may not want. However, I ended up doing something called Transcranial Magnetic Stimulation Therapy, or TMS for short, which was wonderful because it was non-invasive, meaning no surgery, no anesthesia, and I do highly recommend it because I do believe it was effective for me. It felt a little strange at first, and I can only talk about my experience, but first, here's a little basic information about it, like what it is, how it works, and I will talk about my TMS cost with insurance. TMS is recommended for people who have a diagnosis of major depressive disorder or other conditions like OCD or even anxiety, have tried at least 2 to 4 different medications, meaning antidepressants, and they haven't worked, or maybe they can't tolerate the side effects that come with the medications, and the symptoms for the depression, from the depression and anxiety or OCD, are interfering with their daily life. Now, I know this sounds very out there, and at first I even doubted, why would this work? Why would magnets somehow influence and stimulate my brain in exactly the ways that I need it to? And to be honest, I don't think scientists know exactly how it works. I know that they know that it stimulates that area of the brain, and that seems to be enough, because the efficacy of TMS surprised me. And according to Success TMS, which may be biased, but they do cite data from a trial called STAR-D trial. And this trial found that oral antidepressants offered only about 47% response rates in treating depression symptoms, meaning about half the patients saw any changes or improvement, whereas TMS resulted in 83% response. With results like that, I asked my intake specialist at the time why TMS therapy wasn't the first line of treatment when it came to major depressive disorder. Off the record, he said that it was because when insurance companies cover the cost of treatment, they only have to pay cents per pill for medication or common antidepressants like Prozac. But when it comes to a TMS machine, they have to pay a lot more. I mean, a TMS therapy session has to cost enough money to pay back the cost of the machine, which is huge and I'm sure very expensive, and to pay the clinician who's administering the treatment. So I guess it's a lot cheaper for insurance companies to cover the cost of pills, right? Also, TMS therapy was only approved as a treatment for depression by the FDA in 2008. Whereas some antidepressants like bupropion have been approved by the FDA since the 80s. Now, getting into the cost of TMS therapy for the patient. TMS can be expensive, not as much when it's covered by insurance. Without insurance, TMS therapy is about $200 to $300 a session, and it is recommended to do 36 sessions for about 6 weeks or 2 months. And you're coming in once a day, every day for those weeks, except for weekends. So it is a time commitment. However, each session is only 18 minutes, so it's not that bad. If you can just put aside 20 minutes of your day, you can go after work or before work. So I think my clinic was willing to work with me around my schedule. So I did 36 sessions. So if you calculate that, 36 times 300 is about $11,000. I know that's way too expensive, and I wouldn't have been able to pay that, but I did get my insurance to cover it, and I was able to pay my specialist costs personally, which was $25 a session. So yeah, it ended up coming out to about $1,000 total. That was my TMS costs with insurance. And how did I get my insurance to cover it? Well, the only way my insurance covered it was because I met certain conditions. Now, this is different for you, so you need to call your insurance provider if you have questions for yourself. Since again, I'm not a professional and I'm not giving professional or medical advice on this, I straight up called my insurance's customer service line and asked the rep, like, how do I qualify to have TMS therapy covered under my plan? However, the clinic was also very knowledgeable on insurance coverage, so they have the answers on this as well. If you want to contact a clinic, they should anyway, I don't know. So my clinic specifically had to do an intake. They had to send a letter to my provider signed by the overseeing doctor that proved that I had tried several medications and they weren't working, and it showed my history of medications. So the key was to show that my depression was treatment resistant, right? That's the key word here. I myself have been on 6 or 7 different medications over the past 10 years, I want to say, throughout my life, as well as psychotherapy or talk therapy. So that also, I think, showed a history that I have treatment-resistant depression. The TMS cost with insurance was about only 10% of what the cost would have been without it. So I hope you guys will also be able to get TMS insurance coverage because it's worth it. I'll cover more TMS therapy topics in upcoming videos since I went through the whole thing. And if you guys have any questions, like how did it feel, or maybe you're wondering about did it work, please comment below.